Today, we take a look at macros and how to stay alive. Ooh, welcome friends to a new episode of Lineage 2. Hanging out today on the Chronos server. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm having a really good day. And I want to talk about macros today. Some of you guys asked about my IS macros. So that's what we'll take a look at today. So we'll even, at the end, I think we'll show Clobberstomp's auto-attacking macro as well. So you guys can get a feel, an idea for what we're doing and how I keep him alive while we're here. And as you can see, his life does go down. It goes up and down. But, so, first thing to note is I have all of my skills on my bar. And I have them all set to auto refresh. So that is step one. Put all your skills in a row. And this is how I do it. There's probably a bunch of other ways. There's a bunch of better ways. This is what I do. Reason I put these all on here is because then it gives me the ability to put whatever I want in my macro, and I don't have to worry about any of these in the macro. They will just automatically refresh as needed. So, onto the macro. I have a I call it auto follow, but here's my macro. So, target Clobberstomp, target Clobberstomp. What that essentially does is takes Nalia, targets me, and then it doing the double target like that brings me and is pretty much an auto follow to any person that you'd put here. So you'd put your person here. So, or whoever you want to follow. So if you are following, or if you're in a CS, you know, a constant party, or CP or whatever, you could do this to your person that you'd be assisting. And then I use Prophecy of Might, and that runs my skill to, you know, set up Prophecy of Might, because Prophecy of Might is a really good idea to have all the time because it adds all that wonderful P attack and M skill critical. All the critical stuff. It's super awesome to have. So that's in my macro. Then I target self, and I run healing melody. The reason for that is if you target self and then run your healing, it will heal the whole party. So you don't have to heal individual people. It will do the whole party. You could also put party 1 here, which would essentially, I believe, do the party leader and then everybody in the party, but I'm not sure. I haven't played around with that yet. I always do self because I'm always going to be in the party, and then I don't have to worry about party lead or any of that other stuff. Then I target Clobberstomp again twice because then it will keep me next to him. Now I could probably modify this now that I'm a Dreadnought. Reason being is my macros now, I don't really need an auto follow. Now I'm anchored. I'm not moving anymore, whereas before I was running around. Then I do another Prophecy of Might if needed. The reason that I have this here twice is because this gives me the ability to set another target for Prophecy of Might. So if I have two people that are DDs that need Prophecy of Might, I'll put the other DD here. So I'll follow Clobberstomp, and then I'll follow the other DD. They'll get Prophecy of Might, then I'll target myself and run Healing Melody. And then I put a delay in there of 30 seconds. The reason I put the delay in there is to account for the regen. Now, on occasion, I will change this Healing Melody to Polymorph. Skills. Polymorph. It transforms you into stone for 15 seconds. So it also eliminates the aggression. So that is a lot of times I will change that over to Polymorph, so it keeps my IS taken care of, and I don't have to worry about it. Now here, I just run all heals. I run the 2 heals because it's kind of needed. If for some reason Palm falls off, Clobberstomp needs to have the extra heal. As you can see, it goes down, but it comes back up. Now, I get kind of dangerous every once in a while, but this seems to work. It keeps Clobberstomp alive, and it keeps me working. Now, one thing to note is you'll want to play around with your delay, and you want to play around with whether or not you keep this healing melody or you put in your polymorph. Now, I usually have this as polymorph, but it's not needed here. And being I'm a Dreadnought, I don't really have that much of an issue with things aggroing me as the healer, so I'm not too worried about it. Also, this covers the idea of keeping yourself as the person that is targeted first. That way when you refresh your favor the Exalted, I don't run it here because there's no point. I don't need the XP or SP. I'm here for Adina and Adina only, so I'm not going to waste the Spirit Ore. But it also solves the problem with the favor of the Exalted issue, where if you target another person and then you run that, it'll just eat all of your Spirit Ore. But I have it off right now, so I don't even have to worry about it. But even in the event that this does somehow kick off, it can still happen, but it solves the problem, at least from the macro level, where I'm targeted most of the time, and the only time I'm not targeted is when I run the skills. So that way, if this does kick off, it would have to be at the exact moment that I have another player targeted. So it won't really happen, but yeah, there's a bug where if you have another player targeted and this kicks off, it'll just keep running it until you run out of Spirit Ore. It kind of sucks, but there's that. That's how you run your IS macro, and it works pretty well. I'm sure there's other variations. I'd love to know what your guys' variations are. How have you solved some of the problems? I like the auto follow, so that's why I have the targeting in there, and it gives me the ability to run 2 different palms against 2 different people. But for the meantime, I just take this person out when I don't need it. Now, I could probably set up my own macro for this, but it's fine. It works. It's okay. Alrighty. Now, let's take a look at my macro for Clobberstomp, which is a little bit different. I have all these things out of the way. I got to move them all. I haven't really played around with any of the stuff yet since I haven't done a whole lot of recording since the newest update. But alright, let's take a look at... No, we don't want to record. We're already recording. Holy crapola. Macro. Alright, we're smashing of the face. I've got my macro here, and this is what I use for my macro. Now, I have 2 different variations of this. Because I'm a Dreadnought, and this is only for Dreadnoughts, or tanks, or whatever that might need to be anchored. Use skill stand provoke. Provokes all the enemies in the nearby area and brings them all in. And then I use my Thunderstorm to hopefully get off a stun. And that's the only skill I use. Everything else is attack stand, so I just attack and stand where I'm at. And every once in a while I kick off my Power of Abundance skill, which is from my Talisman. And then rinse and repeat. Then I use the other provoke so I can pick up some of the defense of that. And then I threw in a last attack too, so I can get the overhit every once in a while. But I run this pretty much standard, and then with I have all of my buffs on that I need, and then I just have Nalia healing me, and I'm usually doing okay. Now I also have a clean version of this that lets me walk around as well, where I'm not anchored, so I've been playing around with this. I don't know how well it works. I'm trying to figure out a way to potentially get past the worrying about ranged attacking areas, but I haven't quite worked it out yet. I need to figure some things out, but if you guys have ideas on how to figure out how to use a Dreadnought in a ranged mob area, I'd love to know how you guys solve that problem, because I haven't figured it out yet. But I have some ideas, but obviously my ideas are not working all that well, so I haven't figured it out. But I also need to change all these. But alright, friends, well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It most certainly was enjoyable for me, and I hope this sheds some light on some of your macros, and hopefully that can help. A lot of the game now with the auto hunting is tweaking your macros to make them work so you don't die, and so you can just be sustainable all night. So play around with them. I'd love to know what kind of things you have going on. Post your macros in the comments. I'd love to see them. And as always, please like and share on your favorite social media. Catch you guys in the next episode.